Hello students. Today let's discuss the questions on some topics that we have discussed before in the case of magnetism. So a number of topics we have discussed, like the properties of magnet, and after that magnetic dipole, and what will be the magnetic field due to any bar magnet due to current loop. So and what is the torque experienced by any current loop or magnet, and also what is the potential energy stored in any magnetic dipole. So such kind of topics we have discussed up to now. So let's just discuss first of some of the conceptual problems based on the topics that will just help you to make you more understand these topics that we have discussed, and also you can just strengthen your basic knowledge about the magnetism. So first question that we have, what will be the effect on any magnet if we will cut it into two pieces? And in the question two more things are given. First, if we are cutting the magnet along its axis, and second, if we are cutting it along its equatorial axis. So here two things are given, or we can also say transverse axis and along the axis. So first, as you know that magnetic monopoles does not exist, means if we will cut the magnet into two parts, then always we will have two poles of the magnet, means always the piece that we have cut from the magnet, that will also behave just like a magnet that we have already. Means suppose if we have this magnet, and this magnet has this north and south pole, and here the two conditions are given to us. Means if we will cut this magnet along its axis, and if you will meet these two poles, then this is called the magnetic axis, and if you will just draw a line perpendicular to its axis, then that is called equatorial axis. So if we will cut it into transverse direction or its axial direction, then that time if you will cut in axial direction, then such kind of construction you will get. And again in this construction, two dipole will form here. Means the cut portion pieces of the magnet is also just as a magnet here. And if we will cut it into the transverse portion, then we can obtain two magnets in this way. And here this direction is north, this is south, again this is north and this is south. So in this way we are getting this kind of magnet. Simple magnetic monopole we cannot ever get it. We can only obtain the magnetic dipole in such a way. And next thing is that what is the effect on the magnet. So if you will talk about the magnetic field, then if or pole strength, suppose if we are talking about that, pole strength means the strength that these poles have. So if we will cut it into along the axis, magnetic axis, then as its length is just half, then that time its pole strength just become 1/2 of the pole strength that was before. So if the pole strength in starting they have, that is Qm, then now the pole strength they will have, that is Qm/2. And in this case, the case that we are cutting it into the transverse direction, in this case pole strength will be as it is same, because this length is not changing here for the north pole. Clear to say? This is our first question for this one. So second question we have, that is if we are taking any iron rod, and if that iron rod is melted, then can it retain its magnetization or not? So magnetization means the property to just keep the magnetic behavior in any substance, that is known as magnetization. So here later we will talk this one in magnetic materials also, like you know already the nickel, cobalt, iron, such kind of materials that have the properties to behave like the magnet. They are showing attraction properties to any magnet. Means simple, they have some magnetic behavior. So if we are just increasing the temperature, and these iron suppose any iron bar that we have that is melted, then that time due to the increase in temperature, the magnetization or magnetic behavior that decreases, and that we will discuss later. So here as continually it is decreasing, and also the melting point that is greater than a particular temperature up to which it can retain its magnetic field. So it means that iron bar, whenever it will melted, then it will no longer retain its magnetic field there. So next question we have, that is, a magnetized needle in a uniform magnetic field experiences a torque but no net force. An iron nail near a bar magnet, however, experiences a force of attraction in addition to a torque. Why? So here question is, we have already a magnetized needle, and whenever this magnetized needle we are just putting it into uniform magnetic field, then it is experiencing a torque, but it is not experiencing any net force there. So reason is that if you will see the property of the magnetic needle, already it has two dipole already, north and south pole, and the uniform magnetic field that will also have such kind of dipole property there. And if you will see, then that the north pole of that magnetic field will attract the south pole of the needle there, and due to that the force of attraction, if you will see the direction there, or if you will see the direction that is on the north pole, so it is just repelling it, and also south pole is just feeling repulsion towards it. So it means that the net force, you can see the direction of, is such a way that they are cancelled to each other, and due to cancellation property it will not have any net force. But whenever we are putting any magnetic needle in uniform magnetic field at any angle theta, then that time it will experience a force, and due to that, experience a torque, and due to that torque it will just try to align it along the direction of the magnetic field. And here reason is that these two pair of forces, as their line of actions are different, then they are just forming a couple, then that's why due to that couple a torque is produced there. But as the direction of couple is that opposite to each other, then they will cancel out as we are calculating any net force. But if we are just seeing the concept of any iron nail that is putting in the field of any bar magnet, then that time, as you know, that any magnetic material that is feeling only attraction towards any magnet in which we are putting it, means suppose we have this is bar magnet, and it has this south direction and north pole of it, and if we are putting any iron nail, then it induces some magnetic field in that. So this is property of a magnet. Whenever we are putting any magnetic material near it, then that time it induces some magnetization in that. So due to the induction property of the magnet, some the iron nail, the side that is near to it, that will become south pole, and the side that is very far away from it, that will become north pole. It means that it will feel attraction towards it, and as these two poles are very large, at very large distance, then they are not showing that kind of property. Even this is showing there, and also these two poles will try to attract each other. So it means that the net force is attractive force here no repulsion this iron nail is feeling, only it is feeling some attraction force towards this bar magnet. So it means that here we will get some net attractive force. So in the case of iron nail, due to just lack of its repulsion property, we are getting net force here. And also if this is situated at some angle, then if we will get here some torque also due to that net force that is acting on it. Means this iron nail will also try to align it along the direction of magnetic field, and due to that reason, you know that if we are using any magnetic needle, magnetic compass, then that is try to align it along the geographic north-south direction because of the earth magnetic field here. Next question we have, that is, must every electric field configuration have north and south pole, and what about the field due to a toroid? So it is not necessary that every just magnetic field configuration should have south or north pole. Like you can see the concept of magnetic material, they have also the magnetic behavior, they are also showing magnetic properties, but they don't have such kind of configuration for the north and south pole. And also we know that the example for the straight wire in which some current is flowing, and in the case of magnetic effect of current we have seen that whenever current is flowing in any conductor, then that time it is producing some magnetic field around it. So in that magnetic field we are not getting any north south pole there, means magnetic field configuration is possible without north south polarity. Only if there is the current that is flowing somewhere, then due to that magnetic field can also be produced. So magnetic, it is not necessary that everywhere there should be magnetic dipole. Second thing, if we are talking about the toroid, then toroid is just like the case of if current is flowing towards it, then yes, in the toroid it is not necessary that there should be any north and south pole. So this is just like the straight wire that we are talking about. So in that case no polarity it has. So clear, it is not compulsory that to produce the magnetic field, every the system that we have, that should have north and south pole. Without it, it can have some magnetic property just like the magnetic materials and straight conducting wire or toroid. Next question we have, can you think of a magnetic field configuration with 3 poles? So here this question is little complicated. So and hence because we know that already we have any magnetic field or magnetic if poles we are talking about that, then always magnetic poles exist in pair, means we have always magnetic dipoles where we can have 4 poles here, 6 poles, means we cannot have any odd number of poles. But if we want to make the configuration for the 3 poles in the case of magnetic field production, then yes, we can make it by using the concept if 2 north pole that is overlapped on each other, or 2 south poles that are putting with each other. Means suppose we have magnet in we have, this is north, this is south, and another magnet for which it is just like the south, and this is we having like the north. Means 2 magnets we have, and we have put it in such a way where 2 south pole are just joined together and 2 north pole are such way, or 2 north pole joined together and 2 south poles are here. Then in that case we can have the magnetic field configuration due to 3 poles also. So we can make by using 4 pole the 3 poles, or 5 poles, 7 poles, but individually if you are talking we can have 3 poles, then we cannot have ever 3 poles here. The next one here, 2 identical looking iron bars A and B are given, one of which is definitely known to be magnetized and we don't know which one. How would one a certain or we can have we can be the certain about which one is magnetized, or whether we are, suppose as we are not knowing anything about that, we know only that 2 iron bars are means there is magnetic field due to the presence of that iron bar, and there can be the possibility one iron bar is magnetized or both of the iron bars are magnetized. Then how can we just be certain about that? Only actually we have the knowledge about the 2 iron bars only, nothing else we know here. So here about the magnetization, you know that we can understand it by the repulsion property. As I told you, repulsion is the surest test for the magnetization of any magnet that we have. So here 2 iron bars are given to us and we don't know which one is magnetized. So for to get or to understand if both are magnetized, put the 2 bars in play. Suppose 1 bar we have put here in such a way. And the second bar, just bring it closer to each, is this one, and one side of it if you will bring near it, if it is attractive, then again put just bring the another side of it. And if we are feeling repulsion there, then we know that the repulsion can only be only attain in the case of magnetized field, means both of the field, if they are magnet or both of the field are magnetized, only in that condition repulsion can be just obtained there. So it means if we are getting such kind of repulsion property, then that time both of the bar magnets are magnetized. And if we are not getting repulsion property, only we are getting attraction, then again we have the problem which one is magnetized now. Means if we are getting only attraction, then only one bar is magnetized here now. Means one we have the behavior of the magnetic material, but that is not is magnet. So if we have to just understand that, then suppose the bar A that we have put on the table, and the bar B just bring its one end near to the middle portion of this bar, and if that bar B is feeling attraction by bringing near this one magnet, or when suppose this is bar A and bar B is feeling such kind of attraction, then bar B is magnetized, and if it is not feeling, then bar A is magnetized. So simple, in this way we can understand, we can find out whether the material that is given to us, that is magnet or not, that is magnetized or not, and which one is material, which one is magnet, we can understand that one easily. So next question we have, if magnetic monopole existed, how would Gauss law of magnetism be modified? So here this question is just like as we know about the electric dipole. So in the case of electric dipole, if we have one charge also there, monocharge, then due to that monocharge we know that we can calculate the electric field around it. So if suppose in the magnetic magnetic field, or also about the magnetic monopole, means single pole is exists there, then due to that you know that we have the Gauss law of magnetism, and that is closed integral of B dot ds, this is equal to 0 here. And this law should be modified, because this law represents that magnetic monopoles does not exist. And if we have to modify this law, then that time this should be equal to the pole strength to multiplied by this mu 0 there. Means simple, the Gauss law should be modified by the pole strength of the one charge that is given, and in which medium it is given, then that with the help of that, in the same way we can write it. So here, due to any one pole, the here this magnetic flux, if we are talking about that, then this magnetic flux, it can never be 0, means always we will get some of the magnetic field due to any monopole there also. So students, after the discussion of some of the conceptual problem, let's discuss some numerical problem also here. So here one question is related to the potential energy that we have discussed in any magnetic field. Whenever we are putting any magnetic dipole, then that is experiencing or some torque, and due to that torque there is some potential energy that is stored there whenever we have to put or rotate it against that torque there. So it means that normally you know that the magnetic dipole, that is try to align it along the magnetic field or direction of the magnetic field. So if whenever we have to just rotate the magnetic dipole at any angle, then we have to do some work done against that torque that is acting to align it along the magnetic field. So that potential is given by U is equal to minus mb cos theta, and this term we have seen already, where this m is magnetic moment here, b is uniform magnetic field, and theta is the angle formed between magnetic moment and magnetic field here. So let's see the question now. Using the relation for potential energy of a current carrying planar loop in a uniform magnetic field, obtain the expression for the work done in moving up the planar loop from its unstable equilibrium position. So first, the case of stable and unstable equilibrium we have discussed in previous chapter also, and here one more time I am going to tell you. So as whenever the system is in stable equilibrium, when it is not experiencing any net force, and you know that any magnetic dipole or magnet that is not experiencing any external force or external torque, then it is along the magnetic field. So it means that if angle between them, if that is 0, then that time that is in stable equilibrium. And if the means the angle between current element and magnetic field, if that is 0, then that time they are not experiencing any kind of torque or force there. And that there this term means simple system is in stable equilibrium, that is not experiencing any net force. And if that is at 180 degree angle, means just anti-parallel to the magnetic field, and that time it is experiences maximum force, means maximum unstable position is this, and it is always the magnet or field that is trying to align it along its original direction. So it means that the most unstable condition is whenever theta is 180 degree, and stable condition when theta is 0. So let's see first the case for unstable equilibrium. So for that case, theta should be here 180 degree, means here the field, suppose the potential energy that time the system have, that is given by U1, and if you will calculate, then this is equal to minus mv cos 180, and you know the value of cos 180, that is minus 1. So finally we will have this is equal to plus mv. And if you will talk about the stable equilibrium, then for the case of stable equilibrium, it is theta is equal to 0, then u2 is equal to here, for that case mv cos 0, and if you will see, this is equal to minus of mv here. So it means that as it is given, we have to obtain the work done in moving any planar loop from its unstable equilibrium. Then obviously you know that if any system is in unstable equilibrium, then that will try to align it along the magnetic field, means it is trying to bring it in stable equilibrium. So here it means that the system is trying to convert its energy from this value to this value, and while converting it, the work that is done by it, that will be equal to the change in potential energy here, and the change in potential energy is given by some u2 minus u1. And if here you will just write down the value of u2, that is minus of mv, and u1 if you will write, then that is minus of this plus mv. Then finally we will obtain 2 mv, this value of the energy or this joule energy it has to do work done whenever the system has to move from unstable equilibrium to stable equilibrium. So that question is, I think, now clear. Now let's see some other questions here from the same topic. So next question we have, that is a coil of n turns and radius r carries a current I, and it is unwound and rewound to make another coil of radius r by 2. So and current carrying the current remaining the same. So calculate the ratio of magnetic moments of the new coil to the original coil. So here this question is very easy question, and this is from the CBSE sample paper. So question is, here already we had a coil, and that coil has n number of turns, and the radius of that coil is n here. So for the first case, number of turns are n. So suppose n is here, small n is number of turns, then we can write in the first case here number of turns is capital N, and already radius is given, that is suppose small r is the radius, that is given capital R. Clear? And now we are just unwounding it, the wires here, and again we are just bonding it in such a way, then the radius of the coil becomes r by 2 here. So if now in the second case you will see the radius of the coil, that is equal to r by 2. Then if you will see the number of turns here, so as we are decreasing the radius by half, then obviously number of turns that will be increased in 2 times. So here n will be equal to 2n in this case. Clear? I think there is no confusion for this one. Means if single coil you have and you are making 2 coils by using that, then you have to just reduce its radius by half. Then in that case you can make 2 coils by using 1 coil easily. So here the current in both of the cases it is given, that is same, I current is here. Then we have to find out the ratio of the magnetic moments here. So as you know that magnetic moment M is given by NIA here. Whenever some I current is flowing through any loop that has area A, that has number of turns N, then that's magnetic moment can be given by this one. So here if we have to just find out the ratio for the both. Then here suppose M1 is the magnetic moment, here M2 is the magnetic moment. Then M1 by M2, that is written by here. Suppose here N1 N2 it is, R1 R2 it is. So N1 A1 and into I here, as the current is same. So N2 A2 into I here. Clear? And as I is same, then that is cancelled out, and finally we will have N1 upon N2 to the A1 by A2 here. So if you will take N1 upon N2, then that's value is equal to 1 by 2 from here. And if we will take area of the loop, so as it is given the shape of the loop is circular, then for the circular shape we will write here pi R1 square, that is area here, and this is pi R2 square, this is area here, and pi is cancelled out from here. So finally R1 upon R2 square, we know it, and as it is given here R1 upon R2 you can calculate. So this is equal to 2 here. So it means that here its value will be equal to 4, 2 square here 4, and finally we can obtain the ratio of the magnetic moments here, that is 2:1 for this case. So I think this question is now clear. Simple question is here, that is based on the fact that you know already and based on the formula that you have. Next question we have, that is as we have talked about already, the revolution of electron round the nucleus, and due to its revolution it has some of the magnetic moment that is called orbital magnetic moment, and we have calculated its value. So whenever you can see that in atom we have two kinds of charged particle, one is proton and second is neutron, sorry not neutron, that is electron. So here as a proton is also charged particle and that carry the same charge as the electron, but why we are neglecting the motion or the magnetic moment of proton when we are calculating the net magnetic moment of any material, or if we are talking about the magnetic moment of the material. So as a student, again I think question I should repeat here. Question is that proton has the same magnetic moment and not same, proton has also the magnetic moment and here spin just like the electrons, just like electron has half spin, plus minus half, then in the same way proton has also plus minus half spin, and also that is carrying the same charge, that is also carrying magnetic moment. But whenever we are calculating the magnetic dipole moment, then why we are neglecting the magnetic moment of proton in comparison to electrons there, and we are only using the value of the electronic magnetic moment to calculate or to study about the system there. So reason, let's see that, as you know that the magnetic moment is given by the formula, that is just a second, mu is equal to EH upon 4 pi m. This is the formula for the magnetic moment that we have discussed already, and here if you will write it for the electron, so this is equal to electronic charge, this is Planck constant, 4 pi is constant, here this will be mass of electron, and for the case of proton it will be equal to, again it is also charge on the proton is same, here this is H, this is 4 pi and this is mp. So from here you can just calculate mu e upon mu p. So this is equal to mp upon me. Clear? and you know that the mass of proton, that is much greater than the mass of electron, as mass of proton is 10 power minus 27 kg of order, and for the mass of electron, that is 10 power minus 31 kg, means 10 power 4 times the mass of proton is greater than the mass of electron. So it means that MP is much greater than mass of electron, you can say. So from here, this ratio you can obtain that mu E upon mu P, this ratio should be much greater than 1 also, and also here this mu E is greater than mu P, means the magnetic moment due to this electron in the system, that is much greater than the magnetic moment produced due to proton. So that is the reason why we are neglecting the magnetic moment of proton whenever we are studying the magnetic moment of the atom or material. So in the material study, we are only using the electronic magnetic moment due to this reason here. So I think the reason is now clear to you all. So students, if the basic terms and conceptual and numerical problem that we have discussed today, that is now clear, then let's end this class here. In next class and in the last end of the chapter, we will discuss the rest of the numericals also, and but as we have to discuss just a lot of topics also, so let's see in next class what we have to discuss, whether we can also discuss the numerical problems there also. So after some numerical problem, I will discuss some of the topics regarding to the magnetic field and magnetism also. So let's just end the class here today. Thank you, students.